think I've got it. Wow, aren't we lucky to have heard that original recording of a young man in 1547 trying to click along to a beat for the very first time. Simply magnificent. Hello and welcome back to the final couplet with me, Theo Cowan. Today we are looking at the last sonnet in the Fair Youth series, which has been 126 sonnets long. Whew, has it been a slog. But we've had some great adventures along the way, and this is the finale. Don't worry, it's not the end of the Shakespeare sonnets. There's still a good 25, 26 to go, but we are saying goodbye today to the Fair Youth. And I feel that the sonnet you're about to hear is a fitting finale. Let's take a listen, shall we? O thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power dost hold time's fickle glass, his sickle hour, who hast by waning grown, and therein showest thy lover's withering, as thy sweet self growest. If nature, sovereign mistress over wrack, as thou goest onward still will pluck thee back, she keeps thee to this purpose, that her skill may time disgrace, and wretched minute kill. Yet fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure. She may detain, but not still keep her treasure. Her audit, though delayed, answered must be, and her quietus is to render thee. Ah, there we have it. Sonnet 126, and you might have noticed those keen ears amongst you that I left a silence at the end. That wasn't just bad editing. There is no final couplet in this sonnet. There is just two parentheses, as if you're meant to potentially leave a silence, because otherwise why would he put the parentheses? I mean, no one really knows why he did this, but I feel like you have to hold the space, don't you? You have to go, there's meant to be something here. Wait, and there it is, the end of the sonnet. It almost feels like a sort of moment of reflection, doesn't it? A chance to think back on the previous 125 sonnets to the Fair Youth. Or another way to look at it is he was lazy and couldn't think of a final couplet. And he was just like, I'll just chuck some parentheses there. That'll do. Make him think in the future that I was being clever. But I would like to go with the former. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt, shall we? But overall, this sonnet is once again talking about time and time's effect on aging and nature and the sort of Marvel-esque battle between nature and time facing up against each other. And as we know, time will eventually always win. But Shakespeare is saying that his lover, the fair youth, has kept on to his looks, even when Shakespeare is sort of withered and aged. And he's saying that's amazing, but at the end of the day, time will come for you, mate. And it's just something to think about. And when I put it that way, it's quite an intense ending to this series of sonnets, isn't it? Just him going, by the way, mate, you're going to age, you're going to die. He'll come for you eventually with his scythe. You might have got away with it so far, but it's a-coming. Sort of feels less lovey and more sort of watch out, more beware. Anyway, let's dive into this line by line and work out what the hell Shakespeare was going on about in Sonnet 126. So we start with, O thou, my lovely boy, who in thy power dost hold time's fickle glass, and his sickle hour, who hast by waning grown, and therein showest thy lover's withering as thy sweet self growest. Now I know that's not one line, but it is all one sort of long thought, so I felt like I had to chuck it all together. And here he's saying, oh, my lovely boy. That immediately doesn't strike me as a love poem, per se. Sounds like he's talking to his son. But we continue. Oh, my lovely boy, who with your power seem to control time itself and time's ability to end things. Or, if we're going with the scythe analogy that he mentions here, his sickle hour, time's ability to cut things down. And then he continues with, you've grown more beautiful as you've aged. God, we can only dream, right? Grow more beautiful as you age, yes please. Well, some would say that we do actually grow more beautiful as we age. Shakespeare does not believe that, usually. He considers wrinkles and aging as absolutely disgusting. He's talked about that previously. And clearly he hates looking in the mirror because he's a wrinkled old wretch at this point. So you've grown more beautiful as you've aged. And because of that, you've shown how withered and gross I, your lover, has become. So again, he's bringing it back to him. It doesn't feel that lovey yet, does it? I mean, he's just going, you've somehow got control of time and you've remained beautiful as time's gone on. And actually, you've got more beautiful as you've aged. Whereas I haven't got control of time and I look gross and ugly and disgusting and wrinkled. So well done. I mean, he almost seems a bit annoyed, doesn't he? Anyway, we continue with, if nature, sovereign mistress over wrack, so if nature, pretty self-explanatory that one, who we know rules over destruction, essentially, then he continues with, as thou goest onwards, still will pluck thee back. If nature, who rules over destruction, as I've said, if she keeps pulling you back from decay, as she seems to be doing, as he's mentioned in the previous lines about keeping his youth, then here's the next line, she keeps thee to this purpose. So if she's doing that, and she is keeping you back from decay, she is doing so for this reason. Here it is. That her skill may time disgrace, and wretched minute kill. So that her power, her skill and power, can outshine and defeat time itself, or wretched minute, as he calls time here. So that is sort of the Marvel-esque battle that I was talking about. Time versus nature. Have at it. So she, nature, is only keeping the fair youth young and sexy so that she can battle and, using her skill, defeat time. Yet fear her, O thou minion of her pleasure. So here's the warning. But fear her. Alright? It's not just going to be plain sailing, baby. You thought you'd just stay young forever? Not going to happen. Think you're Peter Pan? No chance. Fear her. And this is a nice phrase, isn't it? Minion of her pleasure. So sort of, you're just nature's plaything, really. She may detain, but not still keep her treasure. So try as nature might to keep you young and hot and sexy. She can delay losing you for a while, but not forever. So she really can't defeat time. She can certainly delay it as she has been doing. But eventually time will catch up, baby. As it does with all of us. Her audit, though delayed, answered must be. And her quietus is to render thee. So it's nice that when Shakespeare uses a sort of accounting analogy, talking about audits. There's nothing sexier, is there, in a poem, to hear about your audits. And here, essentially, he's saying nature's accounts will eventually be called for. And Though, as he said, nature can delay this, she eventually must pay her debt. And this debt, her final payment to time, will be with you, my boy. God, what a bleak ending to this series of sonnets. That's horrible. He's basically saying, look, you're young, you're hot, you're sexy, but listen, nature's been delaying and delaying and delaying, and eventually you're going to die. So, see you later. There's not even a nice final couplet in this that he usually does, where he goes, but I love you with all my heart, or something like that, and all is well again. In this one, it's just silence. It's just, by the way, time's going to win, and you're not going to stay young forever. You will eventually die. Silence. What an insane last poem to the fair youth. So that is our line-by-line breakdown of Sonnet 126. And let's see how this fits into our story and how Shakespeare is going to end it with the fair youth. And if you remember last week, Shakespeare and his lover, the Earl of Southampton, went to church, and they bumped into Shakespeare's previous lover, Christopher Marlowe. And Marlowe's there, he's got gold rings on, he's got a lovely fur coat, he is clearly rich as hell and loving life. And he's saying, oh God, you're not still with the Earl of Southampton, are you? How's the writing going? Clearly not that well. Well, look how well I'm doing. And he's sort of flaunting it in front of William Shakespeare. And Shakespeare's angry, he's fuming about it. And of course, when Shakespeare's fuming, he has to write a bloody sonnet, doesn't he? That's how he gets his feelings out. And Sonnet 125 was about people like Christopher Marlowe, just sort of appearing to look good and fancy, but really they're not. And he goes on to say, yeah, I'm not like that. I'm faithful. All right? These people are just for show. So let's see how Sonnet 125 is received by Christopher Marlowe, the Earl of Southampton, and indeed the whole church congregation, and how Sonnet 126 fits into all this. Shakespeare finishes reading Sonnet 125 to the congregation and Christopher Marlowe and the Earl of Southampton. Marlowe pauses for a moment and then starts laughing. He said, oh, Shakespeare, you and your sonnets. Don't you realise that everything in life is about fur coats and gold rings and money? You silly idiot. You think it's about love? No, darling, it's about success. Look at me. And everyone in the congregation starts laughing too. Shakespeare and the Earl of Southampton have been alienated. The congregation is saying, yes, it is about money. It is about fur coats and gold rings, isn't it? Marlowe's right. Oh, yes, it is also about God, says the priest. The priest is there and he's quietening everyone down. He says, no, but remember, it's about God as well. That's why you're all here. Okay? And everyone's like, oh, yeah, no, you're quite right. Shakespeare, embarrassed, runs out of the church, followed by the Earl of Southampton. He runs down the cobbled streets, the Earl running after him. The ringing of Marlowe's laugh in Shakespeare's ears. The Earl eventually catches up to Shakespeare. Shakespeare's crying. The Earl wipes the tears from his face and says, Shakespeare, you're better than this. You're better than Marlowe. That sonnet was beautiful. And I know that you're not like that. You're faithful. And I love you. And Shakespeare says, I love you too. But you know you're too good for me. And the Earl says, no, I'm not. We've both done bad things, but I still love you. And Shakespeare says, but you're so young, so gorgeous, and look at me. I'm a wrinkled old wretch. And the Earl says, well, it's mainly my skincare routine. I mean, if you did the same as me, all you need to do is exfoliate and put some nice moisturiser on and you could look young. And Shakespeare says, no, it's not. It's not your skincare. It's nature. And the Earl says, oh, it's not nature, Shakespeare. Stop with that. And Shakespeare says, no, it is nature. You don't understand. It's nature keeping you young. That's what this is. Anyway, you need to be with another young man. You can't be with me. I'm too old for you. We can't be in love. And the Earl says, look, come home. Let's have a cup of tea. We'll talk about it. And so they did. They went back and they chatted it out over a lovely pot of tea, as is the British way. That night they went to bed. The Earl thought that everything was fine again. They'd had a discussion. Shakespeare had said that he loved him. But as the Earl slept, Shakespeare got up and quietly packed his bags. He took his luggage down to the front door, went into the kitchen, looked around him, and thought, I'm going to miss this place. He quietly crept back upstairs and looked at the Earl of Southampton, lying there in his gorgeous youth, wrinkle-free, beautiful. And Shakespeare thought, oh, it's so sad to think that you will die one day, that nature can't keep you from that. But right now you are simply stunning. And I must leave you with some last words. And so, looking down at the Earl of Southampton, he writes Sonnet 126. When he's finished, he leaves it on the kitchen table, picks up his bags, and leaves. In the morning, the Earl awakes. He sees that Shakespeare is gone. He thinks he must be down in the kitchen or in the living room reading one of his books. And so he trundles down the stairs. But Shakespeare's not there. And his things have gone. And on the kitchen table lies a letter. To the Earl of Southampton, the love of my life. The Earl picks up the letter and opens it. A tear falls from his eye and lands squarely on the parchment. He reads Sonnet 126. Oh, my lovely boy, who with your power seem to control time itself and its ability to end things. You've grown more beautiful as you've aged, and because of that, you've shown how withered and gross I, your lover, have become. If nature, who rules over destruction, keeps pulling you back from decay, she keeps you for one purpose, so that her power can outshine and defeat time itself. But you should fear her, even though you are her much-loved plaything. She can delay losing you for a while, but not forever. Nature's accounts will eventually be called for, and though she can delay this, she must pay her debt. And the final payment to time will be you. So there we have it, Sonnet 126, and the end of the Fair Youth sequence of sonnets. Join me next week as we explore the next sequence of sonnets to the Dark Lady, as she's called. Until then,